Sup witches, welcome to my new recording studio, and we're going to be doing something I've never done before, and that's a video book review. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel for a normal video. I don't really know where the channel is right now, although I am enjoying the hell out of making Homebrewed. If you haven't started watching it, I super recommend it, even if you're not really into Star Stable. Like, it's still a D&D podcast, and if you are looking forward to more traditional D&D stuff, then as of this being recorded, the Boardwalkers campaign should be out this week or next week. I don't want to make any promises, but it should be soon, I promise. With that said, let's jump into today's video, which, like I said, is something I've never really done before, and that is a book review. I am doing a book review for The Misadventures: An Almost Epic Tale by Stephen Partridge. A couple of things off the bat. I received an ARC. Can you not? I received an ARC of this book in exchange for an honest review. Second bias that I don't think would be fair not to mention is that I am a friend with the author. It's not going to really change my opinion, but if anyone's worried about like biases on that part, we are friends. I still love the hell out of him, but also like everything I'm about to say on this book is totally based on the merits of the book. So to start, this book, The Misadventures, is a new adult fantasy novel, comedic adult fantasy novel, excuse me. It follows the adventure of a number of heroes in a very D&D inspired setting, going through not necessarily cooperating. What are you doing? Not necessarily cooperating, but having to work together to fulfill a quest against some of their better wishes. So it is very much a traditional kind of fantasy arc, but at the same time, it is very much fun, subversive adventure through normal fantasy tropes. It's just a lot of, what are you doing? Why are you making noises? Up a coast. So let's jump into the pros and cons of this book, I guess, since we've done a summary. I'm going to say the biggest pros of this are its story. It has a very coherent plot and story and progression. There's a very clear sense that like the characters, even if they are the chosen heroes of the story, are not overpowered or are incapable of being defeated. It's very clear power development in a very almost literal sense. There are some level up moments. Definitely has a fair balance of that D&D inspiration. I think helps keep it balanced. And then on top of that, the characters are just wonderful. I'll be honest, when I was beta reading this book, I was not a fan of one of the main characters, but having read it and reread it and just seeing how the character is a little bit more nuanced on my second and third read, just all of the characters are super well-rounded. They all grow in their own unique ways. They all have wonderful arcs, and right now I'm just gushing, but like this is a really good book, and I don't know how else to say it. Like the two things that I like the most, a solid world, a fun world, and it's just full of whimsy and yes, and I like it. Which leads to, I guess, cons. There's only one really big con, and I don't know how to word it as a con, because for some people this may in fact be a pro, of course. One of the big key points of this book is that it subverts tropes. And in subverting tropes, you have to... Why would you go right under my light? Why would you go right under my light? In subverting tropes, you have to obviously you have to be a little tongue-in-cheek. The book is definitely very, very tongue-in-cheek, to the point that it can be a little overwhelming. Like, tongue-in-cheek to the point of, like, not in a adult, immature way, but in a, like, Deadpool's kind of tongue-in-cheek, constantly referential. Like, there's no chapter or really a page that goes without making some kind of reference to another piece of media. And on the one hand, that can be fun to read for the same reasons that getting like hidden achievements that reference other series, like finding the assassin's body in Witcher 2, like those kinds of Easter eggs in games and in books. Clearly those are fun, but if you are not into a story that is completely comprised of jokes in that regard, it can be a con. I call it a mood con because I can be in the mood for that and something tongue-in-cheeky, but if you're not interested in that, or if you're not in that mood, it could be a considerable drawback to the book. That said, coming up for a review for this doesn't seem completely feasible, and also I don't really like the 1 to 5 star review system. I don't think it works, mostly because like what I would give a 5-star review doesn't really help you understand whether or not you'd like this book, because it being a good book can not necessarily correlate to like what it's about and a good recommendation. So while I have given it 5 stars on every way that I have access to give it to you, it's hard to give just 5-star and say go read it, although you should. So instead I'm going to give some references to see if this would be a good recommendation for you, and you can make that decision based on what you think you would like about the book. So I'm going to say right off the bat, if you like books like The Hobbit for its whimsy and stories in the middle, or in songs in the middle, and the whole world's in the dark and everything just whimsy and fun about that book, you'll like this book. If you like the Legend of Zelda series, in particular like Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time or A Link Between Worlds, and those kind of whimsy, more colorful and just like cheerful and fun games compared to the more gritty, dark ones like Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess, then you will like this book. If you like looking for achievements in games, like in Dragon Age or in Witcher, if you like playing those games and having fun finding those achievements like the one I referenced in Witcher 2, or if you like to make fun of ambient dialogue made by characters like winds howling every single time Geralt says it, you'll like this book. If you're just into like having a fun time, if you like fantasy for making fun of fantasy tropes and for just poking fun at the system, but also having like a good solid story, you'll like this book. If you like fantasy books for being realistic, grimdark, or very serious, this is not a good fit for you. Like if you like Witcher to take it extra seriously as a dark fantasy monster hunter and play an extra difficult hard mode for the sake of the realism and the grind, don't think you'll like this book at all. If you like Game of Thrones for the graphic scene and intensity of it, probably won't like this book. So yeah, if you like the fun and whimsy and just like having fun with fantasy, you like this. Oh, another great comparison, although I don't know if the author will agree with me on this. If you like Taz over Crit Role, you'll like this book. I know that's kind of 50-50 considering that the author hasn't listened to Taz and prefers Crit Role, but I would say that of the two, if you are more of a having a lot of fun at the table over deep hardcore roleplay, you'll like this book. If you are into it for deep, in the moment, immersive roleplay, you might like this book. This one's kind of 50-50 considering that the author is a big fan of Crit Role. So with those recommendations and my dogs having knocked around my camera stand enough, yeah, that's my review of The Misadventures in Almost Every Tale. It is currently available for pre-order as of this video coming out. It will be available for purchase on eBook and Hardback. I combined them there. It will be available for ebook and hardback in 2 weeks on August 27th. You can pick this book up and be sure to leave the author a review, because if you did not know, leaving reviews for authors is the biggest thing you can do to help them. So if you like this book, if you don't like this book, but definitely let Steven know that you like this book and what he can do to improve it, because I am so looking forward to the sequel, and I'm sure any and all feedback he can get is going to make that book even better than the first. And I think that's just the goal that all authors have, is to always be improving our craft. With that said, go pick this book up, go get it. Definitely if you are a whimsy, fun time, fantasy kind of reader. That's my first book review. So stay tuned to this channel for Homebrewed. We will be doing a couple of sessions in this setting if you are interested. I don't know if I will be DMing it or if Steven will be DMing it. We're still figuring this out because he is publishing a book at the moment and too busy to plan that, which fair. In addition, there is going to be some stuff coming out on the channel. I'm still hammering it out. I do know for a fact though, I have spent all of this week overhauling my entire website to include some new services and authorly things I'm going to be writing, as well as additional information on campaigns, on projects, on videos, on any and all of the above. So if you are interested in getting additional writerly advice, you can go check out my website at amelias-hart.com, and it's also in the description if you don't want to figure out how to spell Mosley. And thank you all so much for watching. Yeah. Bye.